Hi everyone, I'm Larissa Russell of Creative You, and I'm your host of the Creative Soul Healing Podcast. Here's where we talk about the connection between creativity and healing by interviewing amazing creatives, spectacular healers, and inspiring people who have used creativity in their healing. What does it mean to be creative? What is creativity? You don't have to write a best-selling book or paint a masterpiece or even play in a rock band. Creativity is in everything that we do, in the ways we think, in the way we run a business. In our everyday lives, we are creative all the time. Let's talk about how we are creative and how creativity helps us heal mentally, physically, and emotionally, right now on the Creative Soul Healing Podcast. Hi everyone, I'm Larissa Russell of Creative You. Welcome to the Creative Soul Healing Podcast. Today I have with me Jenna Reiss. Jenna was one of our presenters for the Loving, Healing, Creating Summit that we ran February 2nd through 14th, and we absolutely loved having her. You can still get access to that summit at www.creativeyou.ca. So Jenna is a healer, writer, and breathwork coach who believes in the personal power of oneself and works with each client to help them rediscover their self-love and higher truth. She's been a student of many master teachers in Buddhist lineages for meditation, along with a level 4 certified and trained a few times over Breathwork meditation instructor and Reiki facilitator, and has been initiated to teach by her mentors for her authentic ability to transmit the teachings of meditation. Jenna teaches private and corporate sessions, workshops, conferences, and retreats, working with people to break free from old patterns and habitual ways of being and connect with their authentic selves again. What Jenna appreciates most about her work is the change she feels so privileged to witness in people. Welcome, Jenna.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I love that last line of your bio. What you appreciate is being able to witness the change in people. I just love that.
Thank you.
So true. Yeah.
It's so true. It's what gives me goosebumps and keeps me showing up.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you share some of your story with us and your path that's brought you here?
Yeah. Where do you give the shortened versions of it all? I've been saying recently to someone when I've been asked that question is that the recent years, it started by being dropped off on a mountaintop. And someone was like, "Oh, what kind of mountaintop?" And I was like, "Well, the emotional and the physical kind." Because it was both of those things. But really, my story started, when I was a kid. I was 5 years old, and my mom taught me how to meditate, which is such an incredibly powerful and potent tool. But really, one of the main things that she was doing for me that I didn't even know I needed at the time was giving me permission to feel the feelings that I had, and use this tool to support myself in feeling more like me. But also, of course, learning how to be a society member and not just explode with those emotions at any given time. And, then I did what any kid does, and I rebelled and I rolled around in a few different things. I was always called to helping people. So my jobs were always a really interesting way of helping people. I worked as an applied behavioral therapist for children with autism for a while. And each of those experiences that I had really jumped me into what was next. It really wasn't until I experienced my own trauma, my own deep pain, that I was finally shook out of this stagnancy that I had created in my own life. I had found the next job I had after the ABA work was I went into marketing, and I did a marketing career for over a decade, for 11 and a half years. Climbed the corporate ladder, met some incredible people. And it was really this trauma that is what shook me out of that slumbered state. I was in the slumbered state of a good job with good pay. I knew where I was going to go. If I had looked at my life, I could see that line. And I knew I didn't want that, but I didn't know why or what. And then, the universe took hold for me, and taught me what it was I needed. And really, that's what ended up dropping me off on this mountaintop. That's what ended up the years of study in this work. And now I teach private, corporate. You mentioned a lot of different ways that I teach, workshops, conferences, and supporting people in really breaking free from these patterns that keep us stuck, that put us in that slumbered state. And sometimes that slumbered state is not necessarily even all that bad. It sometimes can feel really comfortable. But a lot of people, even in the comfortability of it, will know that there's something more that they're looking for. So now I help people can reconnect themselves with that authentic self so that they can live their life in that place all day, every day, because I really believe that to be the best person that you possibly could be, it's living in that space. And we all have the power to do so. Sometimes we just need a little bit of support.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's true what you say about comfort, because I know you get kind of like, oh yeah, I could do this. It's not really what I want to do, but it's fine. It pays the bills. You know, I don't have to worry. And then usually something drastic happens.
Yeah.
Most people I've talked to have made a huge life change, complete direction, something drastic happens and go, yeah, this is not how I want to spend the rest of my life.
And I think that that's the important question, right? Like, and even just to ask that as a question, what is it I'm meant to be doing? You know, if you're in that space and you didn't have a big thing to shake you out of it, what is it that I'm meant to be doing? Because I think that that's also part of it. It wasn't just, you know, boom, I found my new career path. It was all these small steps that I looked at now, and I was like, oh, funny, those were all leading me to this point. You know, even exploring, just asking the question, what is it that I'm ready to step out of? Because I know where I don't want to be, and that can be just as empowering as where learning where you do want to go. But yeah, sometimes we need a little help getting out of our own heads and out of our own way to see that path.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's amazing. So what does healing with creativity mean to you?
Everything. Healing, it does. I mean, healing with creativity to me really just references all the possibilities, all the modalities that are out there for people. You know, their mental health is a really important subject. It's an important topic. It's an important conversation. So to me, when we talk about healing with creativity, it really means allowing healing through creativity, allowing creativity to heal. It means allowing ourselves to explore all of that, what that means to us. And for every individual, that's going to be something different, right? All the modalities, all the opportunities, all that is out there, and it's just about allowing ourselves to discover it or to reconnect with something. And for myself, I loved therapy. I've always been a huge therapist, advocate. I've been in therapy since I was 5 years old when I learned how to meditate, and it just wasn't working for me anymore the way that I knew that I needed it to be. And it was no knock on therapists, and it was no knock on the work of mental health. It was my mental health was in need of something more activating, something that I now can see as more energetic and more physical with the body and all that I was holding. And so because I had that background to be able to lean on the meditation and the tools from a young age, you know, I feel so grateful to have even known that there was this world to explore. But I know a lot of people are not taught that. A lot of people don't even know that there are healing modalities out there that they can lean on. And to me, that's using creativity, writing, painting, singing, meditation, and so many other things to really support yourself on your own healing journey. And that finding that tool and that possibility for you, allowing yourself to be healed with, I don't like the word healed. So let's say allowing yourself to be healing with creativity, allowing yourself to be creative with healing really allows yourself to explore the possibilities in that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And do you think there's a driving force that inspires you? I mean, you touched on that a little bit, but can you maybe expand?
No question. For me, no question. I mean, it's like an absolutely. I don't know that I could be where I am today without that driving force. I also don't necessarily believe that, I mean, along the same lines, I'll say, like, I don't fully believe in soulmates. I believe that there are people that you fall in love with and you can make love work, and sometimes you can't. And there are people that come into your life, you know, for these purposes. But there are too many synchronicities that have happened in my life for there to not be a driving force that was guiding me towards where I was meant to be personally. And I've watched it be the same thing for all my clients over the years. I consider myself a student of the universe. I'm employed by the universe, and that is terrifying and wonderful in all of the right ways. You know, as long as I'm stepping into the role of a teacher and being a teacher, I'm also always going to be a student. that's just how it works, right? I see it as this cyclical experience. Like one can't exist without the other. I can't be a teacher without being a student, and I can't be a student without also being a teacher. And that's what's right for me. But it's because it's in this cyclical patterning. It's that and specifically the teaching role, I'll say that I learned more than I knew I needed to know, that then puts me right back in the student role. And so when I experience this driving force, which I call spirit, universe, higher self, intuition, it can be I see those as being anything that could be used interchangeably. I just do my best to listen, and to step into all that I'm personally called to do, what I'm called to teach, how I experience it as like goosebumps. I know I'm on the right track with the conversation, as like I'll get goosebumps, and I'll hear really strange things, and how they come through, that they'll seem strange, and then when they come through, the client will be like, whoa, listen to why I needed that. And so to me, those are synchronicities, that the more I listen to that and the more I develop that relationship, the more I'm inspired and know I'm on the right path. So for me, it feels inevitable. I know not everyone feels that way, including my fiance, which is a fun conversation for us to have, but he's experienced some of that magic too, and then goes, I don't know how to explain it. I'm like, yeah, here we are, right?
Yeah. It's so true. And it's funny when you have people in your life that, especially important people like that, that don't speak the same language, if you will, and so they're like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like, yeah, I do.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that's my honestly, I've discovered that's my favorite, because he's one of my greatest teachers. And that's one of the reasons why, was because I think otherwise I might have ended up living in a world where I only talked and communicated with people that believed the same things as me. And I know that's why he's one of my teachers, because I'm able, and I'm forced to push myself as a teacher to find different communication tools and different language in order to speak about this work that I do, so that it can be accessible, because I want it to be accessible to anybody. And so no question. Yeah. I mean, my favorite is like he said, I don't remember if he said the word magic, but he said, this is what happened. Isn't that wild? And I just like kind of sat there with a big hearted smile, and I was like, I don't think it's wild. And he was like, oh, it was like, yeah, how cool. That's so exciting when you can play in that space together.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. So how would you say, or have you had a past pain that's informed your life purpose? I know you sort of alluded to something, but how has that informed your life purpose?
And my past pain informed my whole life purpose. But then I also get tentative to say that, because I think it's important that we allow ourselves to shed those pains as well. And so however long it may take, it's helped guide me towards my life purpose, but it is not the reason for. It's simply guided me towards and helped me inform, and I say like bring the information to the surface for me around what my life purpose was, because my pain is what shook me out of my slumber. It gave me the need to find other healing modalities, and as a result, it really helped me step into the role of being a breathwork teacher, teaching meditation and coaching individuals. I do really specifically believe, though, that it's important to we allow those pains to inform without becoming the pain or the story, because I think when we become the pain or the story, then it just, our life can take a wildly different path that maybe isn't necessarily where we were meant to be. And so to be careful about noticing that always. And it's hard, right? I mean, when pain comes about, it's big. It feels like it hits you over the head. We don't fully know how to handle it or what to do with it. And so when people are ready, to me, it's allowing our pain, and myself included, to inform, maybe guide, give me lessons around life purpose, but to never become the reason for.
Yeah. No, very true. What would you say is your favorite creative healing modality for yourself?
I mean, it's cheesy because it's expected. It's like no different it's just an expected answer. But breathwork and writing, there's a reason I chose breathwork as my healing modality. This is the main healing modality for me to teach. I've experienced it and witnessed it be explosive for a lot of people in terms of really healing, moving energy, moving old stories, really getting ourselves out of our head and into our body. And I really see writing and writing being an important piece that's also connected to breath work. You can write about your breathwork experience. You could, brain dump in the morning. Julia Cameron's morning pages are something a lot of people follow for a reason. It helps us move through that stuck energy. And because breathwork is specific on working with stuck energy, to me, I think that the two paired can be really impactful. For my personal favorite is that my new writing routine has become about doing something I'm calling coffee and poetry, which I welcome anybody to join in on with me. And just in the morning, reading some poetry, and whatever stands out to me and inspires me or hits me, writing something about that. And not putting any parameters around it. I never called myself a poet. It doesn't need to go anywhere. That's my new version of a morning page. And laying down for breath work is the biggest one, and no question the most potent for me.
Yeah. I just started breath work early last year, I think. And I've done maybe a handful, 6-7 sessions. And it's intense. It's so intense and so powerful. It's shocking to me how powerful it is.
Isn't that why it is? It's wild. Your breath the way I speak about it is your breath can, my breath helped save my life, no question. And it's incredible how impactful it can be. And to me, when you pair that to the experience and the experience itself with writing, with gentle support from a guide or a teacher or whatever it is you're looking for, a community, it can really help you move through these things in a deeper way. I always kind of called it like one session felt like 10 years of talk therapy when I first started.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
It feels like you just move through so many things so quickly, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. What would you say is your greatest accomplishment to date?
So I have the physical and then I'll have the emotional because I can't separate. They're too important. Starting my business was an absolute huge accomplishment for me. Overcame a lot of fear, a lot of judgments, a lot of pain in order to do it. And so leaving that corporate cushy job to take the risk and do what I'm doing now was no question one of the biggest amounts of fear I'd ever felt before. But then I'd also say that emotionally, one of the greatest accomplishments for me has been stepping into forgiveness the way that I have. It's changed my whole life, the way that I've allowed myself to step into forgiveness and be driven by forgiveness and come back to the message of forgiveness, soften into forgiveness. There's no question that has helped inform the success of my business as well as the teachings that I give. So I wouldn't be who I am today and what I do if I didn't allow myself to go on that exploration of forgiveness.
Yeah, forgiveness is huge. And people, no, I'm not going to say people, I'm going to say me.
Sure.
I have found in the past that I really got stuck in it because it's like when you forgive, you were allowing the behavior or, that's not what it is. It's allowing yourself to let it go is what I found forgiveness to be.
Absolutely. I'm looking up because I have my big action items above my computer. And I don't know if I wrote that in these ones, but it was that forgiveness actually sets you, the forgiver, free.
Yeah.
And we hear that all the time, and it doesn't mean anything until you're going through it and you've experienced something that it, relates. But that was a huge learning for me. Yes, I hear you. I forgive for myself. I get it. But I remember at one point I had somebody say to me, I actually still laugh at this. This woman said to me, "Oh, you're fine. You've forgiven. I can tell. I can feel it from you. You've forgiven." And I was like, okay, like interesting. And later I kind of got defensive, but then later I realized that, okay, like that's what she felt. But here's what I knew about, and what I know now is I choose forgiveness. I choose it time and time again.
Yeah.
I choose it every day. I mean, I choose it, and I don't. Some days I don't, and then I feel that. But when I choose forgiveness, that's my body will tell me when it's time. Like my body will decide when I actually feel truly like I've forgiven. But those things don't go hand in hand, which is why it's an active choice.
Hmm.
In order at some point, then I go, oh, this is what it's like to feel free of what I was holding.
Yeah.
But until then, it's a choice and a path.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know that people, I don't know that, I mean, there's a lot of people, I don't want to
Mm,
speak for everybody, right? So
sure.
there's a lot of people who do get that, but I think a
Mhm.
lot of people really get stuck, because I know I did, right?
Mm.
And it, there's nothing to like,
Yeah,
like you can't forgive someone for what they've done, or like it's not up to me, they have to make amends. And it's like, no, no, it really is all on you.
yeah,
It's already done, and what you do with that is now on you.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that doesn't have to inform, um, or excuse, rather. That's the word I was looking for. That doesn't have to excuse the I don't know what their role is, but the actor, yeah, exactly. It doesn't forgive their behavior. It doesn't forgive the individual that did something to you. It doesn't have anything to do with them, but the work that you are going through is all within you, and it's something they've triggered. And it also doesn't mean that you weren't right, right? Like forgiving doesn't mean like that's a petty way of saying it, but it's like it doesn't mean that you weren't right. It doesn't mean that you're wrong. It just means you're choosing to set yourself free.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So if you could change one aspect of our society through your work, what would it be? Get everyone to forgive?
Yeah, right. Well, actually, yeah. And you know what? Yes, I think I'll say yes to that, because it actually connects back to this like larger vision for me, which is choosing love, and dropping into our hearts. So if I could change one aspect of our society, I mean, I would, I would, I would change our ability to drop into the heart rather than be and live in the mind. Um, because I think then we are able to forgive. We are able to come from a place of love. I mean, everything else feels better when we're able to have come from that place of love. I mean, important and impactful conversations about our own disagreements, and even still not and still staying in one another's opinions. And we see that a lot in what's going on in American culture. We don't agree, and so with the disagreements, if we were able to drop more into our hearts, I, from both all sides. It's not a political conversation. It's just from all sides, from wherever you stand. I do really believe that we'd be able to have more understanding, have more acceptance of one another. I mean, if we all came from a place of love always, we'd forgive, we'd be able to create more peace in our world for everyone involved, because it would change the crux of every conversation.
Yeah.
There would be no need for defense, for defending any part of ourselves or our opinions, because we'd all be in our hearts, not in our minds, not with ego.
Mhm.
So there would be this like innate feeling of everyone feeling seen and heard across all fronts. And I think if we all felt that we could change a lot for, I mean, basic human rights at the core.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, choosing love,
Yeah.
just that small task.
Just that small task.
I mean, I'll also add here, I understand that that's going to take a lot, and that's okay. I think that as long as we're all doing our own small part, I mean, for me specifically, like what I want to contribute to life is that I help those who are seeking healing heal. Those who are willing to open their hearts, to help them open their hearts, to help contribute to life by making an impact on the way we, our culture, our society heal. And if I can help people open their eyes, their hearts to other ways of healing that maybe they weren't open to before, and help people believe in the power of healing through love and what that means and looks like, then oh my goodness, I will die a happy woman. You know, and I won't even, I'd say I would die a happy woman tomorrow, because I'm doing that, my part that I can do now. I want to do more, but I'm only one human. And I really do appreciate, that I get to witness the massive impact that my work has for people. I get to witness this transformation that they feel. I'll hear often from people that they didn't know who else to turn to or where to turn, and they were in their darkness, in their pain, feeling lost, and coming to my workshops or working with me, I was able to finally help them heal certain wounds, or like move through old stories. And that's just miraculous. It's miraculous that we can help people feel seen and heard. I have a women's retreat called Expanded Wild Hearts. And one of the reasons I do this retreat is because it brings people together to act as mirrors for one another, to really open up things in an even deeper way, to help more people heal, to help more people drop into their hearts. And I can see the ripple effect, and I feel so grateful to be able to contribute to life in this way. And to me, that is how doing your small part, that is how we do change that one aspect of society that you want to change.
And it's so true. And as I gather more people into my circle, I realize how far reaching it already is.
Mm-hmm.
We just need to get it a little further.
So absolutely.
But we need every little bit we do moves it a little further.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're doing the parts that we can do, and I'm sure I can do more. Absolutely. And come along with me, like hold my hand, let's go together.
Yeah.
Teach me what I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Now I've got goosebumps. Okay. What inspirational advice would you give someone who is struggling?
I have to choose just one. Be willing, be brave enough to open your heart. Mm-hmm. Be brave enough to choose vulnerability, to connect with the world. Love is a powerful healing force, but it requires having the willingness to see maybe where you've been hurt before, to see where you've been afraid. And vulnerability is not always comfortable. But when you do, when I do, when we do, it's as though the whole world gets a little bit brighter, a little bit happier. It's where I feel like you create the life you want to be living. So be willing, be willing, be brave, be open.
And it sounds wonderful in theory, but man, it's scary to do, right?
Oh my God.
But when you do it, it's amazing what opens up to you.
Absolutely. And sometimes it's unconscious. I mean, I think that's the important part. We're all works in progress, right? So sometimes that where you're not being open, you're unconscious of, and you don't know what you don't know. So you can't change the world today. You can start with looking at yourself, or whatever those smaller breakdowns are. And I mean, vulnerability, I am now very comfortable in the space of vulnerability, but I will say there are still things that I don't want, that make me squirmy, because that's my healing lesson, and that's my new layer of healing, or in the big world of the onion, that's the new layer that I'm peeling off around, right? And so wherever you can start with that, it is scary. It absolutely is scary. And that's really why we have each other, though, too. I mean, we're not meant to do this alone. And you know what? That'll lead me to the second piece of advice, because inspirational advice to me that feels important is don't give up on yourself. Mm-hmm. If you need support, reach out, let people support you, but don't give up on yourself. There's tons of us out there that want to hold your hand, want to sit there with you, want to, be in community together, want to give you the tools that we have and want to, be of service, want to be your friend, whatever it may be. That don't give up on yourself, because if you need the support, reach out. Let people support you.
And that is surprisingly, I found that surprisingly hard, but once I allowed it, oh my goodness, the difference it made in my life.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then that's the same thing too, right? You find new layers of that. I'll say it like I used to I used to not know how to, I'll say it like this. I had sprained my ankle last winter, and I was going to a retreat, going back up onto one of my mountaintops, and I was using a cane, and I'm going into the snow, and I was like picking up my backpack, and I was like, no, I really can't. I'm fine. I really can. I can put my backpack on my back, and I can. Like, I can wear my backpack on my back at the airport. And I was at the airport with a friend of mine, and he was like, no, Jenna, give me your backpack. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, thank you. That's so kind. Right? Like, it was just this easy way of letting someone support me. He was asking me to support me, and I was like, no, I got it. Why? There was quite literally no need. There's no need. He can do it actually better than I can right now. And it was, but like old me would have been like, no, like grab it out of his hand, you know. And I was like, it was an interesting, like, small little example of like, let people support you. I needed the support.
And when you realize that you're allowing it, that's what I found was like, oh, I'm actually allowing it.
Yeah.
It was a weird feeling. Okay, I could get comfortable with this.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole process. That's where I was like, that was my like, oh, okay. Like, I totally, yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do you have an inspirational quote that sums up your life journey?
I couldn't choose. There's too many. I'll pull the two that felt, when I thought about this, there were two that came to the top. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if they sum up my life's journey, and I don't know if I'll find a better one when we hang up and I'll be mad that I didn't say that one, you know, probably will. So, but these showed up now. So one is, I don't know who it's by. I'm sure I could find it if I did a little extra digging, but there's something about, and I'm definitely going to get the way she said it wrong, or he said it wrong. That all human beings have the opportunity to love and change a life. Yeah. Because all human beings have the opportunity to love and change a life.
And often you don't even recognize how I'm just adding to your quote, of course. Often we don't even recognize how we impact somebody else, right? By what we're doing.
No question.
Yeah.
I used to say, it was so funny watching my newsletter list as it was growing over the last couple of years, and in life it still does. When like I first sent that one out, 5 years ago, and there was like 20 people, and it was my mom and my sisters, and right. Mm-hmm. I still kind of realize that I have this sentiment inside my body that that's who I'm writing to, because like I'll send out a newsletter and then I'll get a response back from someone, and the response back will always be like, oh, people read it. Like, it's always this like feeling. But it reminded me of like, okay, and I always think when I do get a response, I'm like, thank you for the response, because even if I don't, email you back right away, there's this, I'm grateful that you have just shown me that I'm having a ripple effect, that I'm creating some of the change that I can create. And otherwise you think you're just sending it to your mom and your sisters, or so absolutely, I agree. You don't always know. In fact, you probably have no idea the real ways in which, but we absolutely have the opportunity to do so.
Yeah.
Oh, and my second one, I have to say my second one. My second one is Joseph Campbell. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek.
That is a good one. Yeah, that one gave me goosebumps too.
Good right? One.
Yeah.
It's the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. Fear is fear.
Fear is, yeah. And stepping through that. But it's so worth it. There's the treasure.
Absolutely. And to me, it also, there's the treasure, and that, like, you don't have to find the treasure on your own. You can go seeking that treasure, that cave, letting people support you, letting people reach out to you, not giving up on yourself, but if that quote doesn't mean anything to you, I also understand that there will probably come a day when it does hit something. And to me, that feels like, it's like this little bookmark in the back burner. Just like every time fear shows up now, I'm like, oh yeah. But the reason for me, the reason that would sum up so much of my life journey is because I've never been one to let fear guide me, but certainly have had to notice when it was trying to take the wheel.
Yeah, I unfortunately let it guide me far too much in my life, and not recognizing it. I always had a really good reason why I wasn't doing what I needed to do.
Fear
Right?
is good at that.
Fear is really sneaky.
Yes.
So when you go, wait a second, is that really a good reason? Is that really what was happening? And you sit with it, you go, oh no, I was just scared to death.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like comfort, like, oh, it's okay. Like, I'm like, it's okay, Jenna. I was scared to death. Like, so I let that many years go by, or whatever, right? Happen. I was scared to death. It's okay. Like, loving myself through that moment, because the fear does have very good reasons.
Yes.
And sometimes they are very real reasons.
Sometimes
they
are. And sometimes it's just, your brain going, we like status quo.
Totally. We like comfort zone. Yeah. We understand it this way, not this new way. Yeah.
So, but when you do step through it, that treasure is definitely there.
No question. Well,
Jen, I want to thank you so much for being here. This was so good. I had a couple of goosebump moments, so that was a good measure. And to our listeners, thank you for being here today, and we'll see you again next week. And in the meantime, I wish for you amazingly creative days. Have a great week. Thank you for listening in. Please remember to like, share, subscribe wherever you are watching or listening. You can find us at www.creativeyou.ca. That's www.creative and the letter U.ca, because we're in Canada reaching out to the whole world. See you next time on the Creative Soul Healing Podcast.